Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Robert Phoenix. I'm back, albeit about an hour and a half later. It's been a very interesting transition trying to get things together here. As you can see, I'm working with the raw studio space in the background, and I'm not going to be streaming very long today. This is mostly kind of a hey, I'm okay kind of stream, and I really appreciate people that have been asking about me. Yesterday, I tried to go live, and I have this other computer. So right now, I'm just running the show off of a very old Macintosh laptop from 2009. So I'm pretty limited with what I can do with it. And I have another Mac that I took into the shop and got a new hard drive and new fans. And you guys probably have heard that fan at some point in the background. Some of the other live streams sounding, very dark and sounding like the sound that Saturn makes at times. I mean, so I took that in, new hard drive, new fans, new battery, and then the guy configured it to Catalina, the latest operating system, and the camera didn't work. So I couldn't do yesterday's show because of the camera issue. I was like, oh, fuck it. And I'm just really sorting through a lot of stuff here. And in fact, in about 20 minutes or so, the plumber is going to come because I've got a few odds and ends around the new place. But you can see in the background that this is going to be the part of the new studio. It's very raw, which is really kind of cool, right? So let's do a little bit of a backdrop here. This place used to be like, I don't know, they had a business out of this place. And the add-on was really one of the things that sold me on moving to this location. That and the pretty large backyard to grow some things, right? So, when I was thinking, well, what kind of a place do I want? What kind of a place do I want to live in? And the word that came to me was compound. So I wanted to live in a compound kind of a place where I could do a bunch of shit. And for the money and for the time and for the opportunity and the location, this came up on the compound meter because it does allow me to do a lot of things. And just on the other side of this studio space, I've got a ton of storage. So I can put a lot of stuff over in the storage area. I got a living space. I've got an office. I got a garage. I couldn't be happier. And I just want to say that I actually wouldn't have been able to do this without you. Okay, I wouldn't have been able to move without your participation, your energy, your contributions. These are the things that keep me moving, both physically, spiritually. It doesn't happen without you. So everybody that's subscribed, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm way behind on getting a lot of stuff out, but please bear with me. We'll get there. I'll make sure I get to everybody who signed up for a reading. It's all going to happen. I just need to get my systems up and running here so that once they're all in place and intact, this thing will happen. It'll be a lot more efficient. I just need a little time. I'm going to get set up this weekend, and we're going to be taking this thing to another level. So let me just check in with everybody here in Chatlandia. Let's see where you're at. Let's see. We've got Denise. Good morning. There's Joan S. FUP77, good morning. Judy, thank you for the email. I appreciate that. Tamara in the house. There's Rob, the refugee from Aloha, the Aloha state. There's Joe. Hi, Joe. And Joe Dimitri, checking in, the two Joes. Tamara, hi, Tamara. Well, the health thing was tricky. My back has been really out. Morning, Frank. There's Leanne. Leanne, I got to get back to you too. Just give me a moment in time. Cheryl, good morning, Cheryl. And then there's Brandy. And we got Mary. Hi, Mary. Good to see you. Temperance 1111. Yes, live in the flesh. There's Luann. Hey, Luann. Justice. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you too. There's Jimmers and Beth Berry and Dawn Hart. What's going on, Dawn and JMP Love? We got some peepage in the house. Boy, I think, there's Maury. Hey, Maury. Maury and Dawn tuning in from Spring. You're awesome, Tag. You're it. That's funny. That's really, really funny. Rosie hanging out this morning. Rosie's in the house. She's over on the utility bench over there. Jasper has been more of a Howard Hughes type figure since we've moved in. but that's okay. He'll get there. They both have had tremendous interest in the backyard, by the way. They're both looking out that glass door going, what the hell is going on out there? We're very interested, very, very interested. So we'll make a transition to some backyard cats at some point. It's going to take some time. There's a lot to talk about. I don't have a lot of time today. So the time that I do have, I do want to get to it. The title of today's stream is From the Third Dimension to the Fourth Dimension. And I really feel like this is where a lot of the work and a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about moving forward is really going to focus on. Of course, I'll talk about the political stuff and the cultural stuff and the astrological stuff in a very big way. That's all going to be part of, the menu moving forward. But it's really clear to me here now that we're not just breaking free from wearing a mask in a supermarket. We're not just breaking free from saying whether or not we want our temperature taken or we want a vaccinated jab. We're breaking free on every single dimension and every single level of our experience. Now, you have to remember that this is a really important piece, because when we break free from third level density, we're breaking free on all these different levels. We're unlocking the chains on all of our different subtle bodies. And, there are 12 dimensions of reality and our souls. And I know that if you're watching this program, you got a soul. And if you're watching this program, you don't have a soul, don't worry about it. We'll find you one. We'll definitely find you one. I saw some on eBay a couple of weeks ago. Pretty good deal. Pretty decent deal. I can't speak to the quality of the soul. I mean, you'd have to work that out, but you'd stay tuned. All right, stay tuned. It's one of those things on eBay that you can still get. That has a worthwhile value. But this is so the soul exists on these different dimensional levels, right? So your soul could exist on the 8th dimension, the 9th dimension, the 10th dimension, the 11th dimension, the 12th dimension. And this is where the real challenge is, or this is where the real journey is to link up to those levels of consciousness so that we're living with that reality in the body. And when we're living with that reality in the body, these people that are the puppet masters and their little marionettes have no power over us at all. None, zero, none whatsoever. And the more that we free ourselves from the physical chains and the physical bondage of this world, the more that we free ourselves up to have our spiritual connection, and that can work through us. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about moving forward has to do with that, because we are now hunting big game. Okay. Big game, big prey. It's not just the Karens. It's not just the contact tracers. Although they're the sentinels, they're the drones of the matrix. It's what they represent, because they want to keep you enchained. They want to keep you in your house. They want to keep you in a mask. They want to keep you in servitude and bondage. And these people are incredibly tricky. Not the contact tracers, but the people that make the policy, the people that demand a decree. I was watching Alan Dershowitz last night. He was on Tucker Carlson. I was very interested to see what Dershowitz would have to say about forced vaccinations. And Tucker, I thought, handled it pretty well. But I wanted to talk just a little bit about how Dershowitz goes about his game. Now, Tucker Carlson says that he's a civil rights and libertarian lawyer. Bullshit. If he was a true civil rights, a true civil libertarian lawyer, he wouldn't be advocating vaccines. He would say people have the choice for their bodies, but he doesn't. So what he did last night is he established his authority, and he established some kind of weak ass kind of case study or case principle vis-a-vis law in the Supreme Court. Now, he didn't actually quote the case, but he quoted that the Supreme Court had ruled on this, that you must have a vaccine. Now, I didn't see it. He didn't bring it up. He didn't say Supreme Court versus so-and-so and so-and-so, and this is how they ruled it. He didn't bring that up. We're just supposed to accept that on prima facie face value, because Alan Dershowitz is this great and esteemed civil rights and civil libertarian lawyer, right? Bullshit. He's got the Epstein tapes. He has the Epstein tapes. He's a thief. He's a little Loki. He's a Virgo. I hate to say it. He's a Virgo, but remember, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is one of the messengers of the gods, and that's what Alan Dershowitz is. He's a little Hermes. He's a little dark Hermes that goes from one world to the other, carrying all these messages, right, and all the secret codes. This is what he is, right? So last night on Tucker, he used this one example, which I thought was interesting. He said that that the Supreme Court has ruled on the greater good, right? That by you getting a vaccine, you are actually supporting the well-being of the collective, or the greater good of the collective, or the totality of the nation. And the example that he used was the draft, that people had to be a part, they had to consign themselves to the draft, because the Supreme Court ruled that if there's a draft and you are drafted, you must then therefore serve. Okay. This was the example that he used. It's a faulty example, and I wish Tucker would have followed up on it. And the example is, I could give you three very, very distinct examples about why it's a terrible example. Number one, we don't have a draft right now. There is no draft. They suspended the draft, and they make sure that you sign up and you get your name on some sort of service list. Okay. So there is no draft. He's using a fallacious argument to begin with. Secondly, even if there was a draft, there are people that are disqualified from being a part of the Army. Somebody who has asthma, like myself, I would not be allowed to be in the Army. So therefore, I don't have to go to the Army. And there are a number of pre-existing conditions that disqualify people from actually going into the Army. He didn't bring that up, right? What about service? How old do you have to be in the Army? Well, you got to be 18. And what is the cutoff? About 40? So if he's using the draft as a measuring stick for who and will get the vaccine, then anybody before the age of 18 and after the age of 40 shouldn't have to get the damn vaccine, if he's using that analogy, which he was. And what was really interesting is he actually made a case for his grandkid. Go back and watch this. He made a case for his grandkid. Said, well, I would certainly take the vaccine. Oh, yeah, sure, Alan. You would take the fucking vaccine. Bullshit. No way. But then he said, well, my 10-year-old grandson, that might be a different story, because we know blah, 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 blah. So he's already making a case. He's already making some kind of dispensation for his own family, right? So if that's true, man, they get across the board. That 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, anybody under the age of what? 18 doesn't get the vaccine. Anybody under the age of 18 can't serve in the Army. And then the other option is one that's called the conscientious objector, right? Now, this is the one where it gets a little tricky, because you could be a conscientious objector and not be drafted. And what happens? Well, they'll throw you in prison. Muhammad Ali was a conscientious objector, right? He didn't go to prison, but he certainly wasn't able to box. And he claimed his faith, Islam, precluded him from going into the war, right? So what if you're Islamic or Muslim and you don't believe that that your faith would allow you to take a vaccination? Then what? It's the same thing with Ali. But if we go back to Ali, Ali did not serve any prison time. He didn't serve any prison time. He didn't go to jail. Just like some other conscientious. I mean, so the system is full of loopholes. It's like Swiss cheese. Okay. It's like Swiss cheese. So Dershowitz's example was faulty. It was totally faulty. And I wish Tucker had followed up on it a little bit to prove him wrong. And I'm sure Dershowitz would have danced around it and said, there's this and there's that and there's this and there's that. So what Dershowitz kind of did is he kind of walked back his trolling slightly. And Tucker made him have a few provisos, if indeed the vaccine is safe. How do you know what safe is? Right? There is no such thing as a safe vaccine, not that we've seen. And there's plenty of case studies that tell us this. And apparently some of the early examples of whatever coronavirus vaccine they've got has not done well. Like monkeys have died. Okay. Monkeys have died. So the whole thing is bullshit. It's just bullshit. And the best thing we could do really is to disassemble it and see it for what it is and find where there's fault in their arguments and find out where there's delusion and unlock it and free ourselves of the chains from that, right? The more that we do that, the more that we free ourselves from the chains of physical bondage of the third dimension, and it has a chain reaction effect through all these multiple dimensions of reality. So ultimately, what are we doing here? This is not just about going back out and being able to cut somebody's hair or serve somebody a margarita. No, this is about spiritual liberation. This is where we're at right now. This is a time of spiritual liberation. And we're using the third density model in order to break through this. Okay, just remember that. Just remember that. And no matter what your stage or station of life is right now, whether you're wildly successful, whether you're teetering on the edge of insolvency, whatever that is, right? We're all at different kind of levels here. That ultimately, whatever's in your life right now is here to help you spiritually liberate yourself from the chains of the third dimension. That doesn't mean that you just fuck off the third dimension. You stop paying your power bill, you stop paying your rent, you stop paying for these things. Guess what's going to happen? The third dimension will clamp its jaws down on you and say, guess what? You violated certain rules of being here. So therefore, you must now face the consequences, right? And maybe that could be interesting in some ways. Maybe that could be interesting. Walking away from things that are no longer serving you could be a very interesting thing, whether it's a relationship or a job or a mortgage or a car payment. Maybe those things are, valid. Use mindfulness when you go through those moments. Use mindfulness. It's really important because then you can use them as a springboard for liberation. So we're going to be talking a lot about this because Gemini, the true node, has shifted into Gemini and we're moving away now. You see how this is really interesting, right? For what, the last 3 months, we've been in those final degrees of Cancer with the true node. What's all been about? Home, 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 home. Home, 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 right? Staying at home, staying at home, staying at home. Here's my kid working at home, staying at home. I'm fucking sick of seeing the Zoom commercials, not actually Zoom itself, but all these people in 12 frames split screens, all singing and waving. And, I'm sick of that bullshit. I'm sick of people doing little dances on TikTok. Okay, enough already. Enough. Now we're into Gemini. Let's get, it's time to move. Right. And I guarantee you, move with a capital M is going to be part of a big migratory pattern, huge migratory pattern. You're going to see people get up and split. They're going to leave. People from the north, people from the east, people from the west, they are on the move and they are coming to the south and the parts of the Midwest and parts of the Southwest. South Dakota, get ready. You're going to have a population explosion. Texas, not a perfect state by any stretch. Population explosion. Oklahoma, Arkansas, these places are going to boom. They're going to start booming. Idaho, booming, right? North Dakota, booming. We'll see about Montana. Places like Nebraska and Iowa, which stayed open, booming, right? So we're gonna witness a major migratory wave. It's going to be big, really, really big. Invest in U-Haul. I'm serious. You want to, if you want to play the stock market, start investing in U-Haul or Penske or whatever, because that'll be a good short-term play. It's gonna be an amazing time. I have to say, it is going to be an amazing time because we're just getting right into that true node energy in Gemini. True node energy in Gemini. Yes. Yeah. Anyway. All right. I'm out of here for today because I gotta deal with the plumbers. Let me just do a quick check-in with you guys. I hear we're in this together. We're going to have a Scorpio Feb. We're not in this together. We are not in this together. Good morning, Dr. Rashid Battar has petitioned to sign against vaccines. Yeah, I think I've signed that. I'm not in this with the fraudulent golem. Yeah, I'm not in it either. What else do we have here? Reason or cool concept for life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Do they get to go into the water? What else do we have here? I totally agree, Robert. Let's see what else. Check out Max Eigen's video. He has a conversation with Harry Vox. Business parks open today in Miami Beach. They're calling it phase one. You know, the times I was scared the most when I was at the grocery store a couple of months ago, see people panic and empty shelves. Yep, that was all induced. All of it induced. Okay, at the end of homeschooling, yes. See, Dersh doesn't see the irony. If he feels getting the vaccine helps everyone, then does defending a pedo-known assistant. Yeah, the Dershowitz thing is a really interesting, you know, he's tricky, right? I mean, he's all into Epstein. He was on the flight manifest. We talked about this 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And then he unseals those documents. Miami Herald gets involved. They pull Epstein off the streets. They extract him. New York, and bang, he's gone. They remove him. And none of it ever gets like brought to the surface. Because unfortunately, the girls that were part of that initial trial that I think Acosta was involved in. Is that right? Alex Acosta? They all signed stuff away. But nobody ever would be exposed, right? Nobody would ever be exposed, whether it was Dershowitz or Ghislaine Maxwell or anybody, Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, nobody would be exposed. Done. They get their little settlements and it's done. It's over. All right. I'm out of here for today. Got to deal with the plumber. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't have a guest for tomorrow, but I have a great show lined up. It's something I've been working on. And it has to do with Tom Hanks, and it has to do with the films that Tom Hanks has starred in. And I'm going to show you how every film that Tom Hanks has done has been at the cusp of a major cultural change, and the amount of influence that Tom Hanks has had on our culture through his movies. You don't want to miss this, because there's a lot of talk about Tom Hanks not being around anymore, and you know the mystery of Hanks deepens. So tomorrow we're going to do kind of a bit of a retrospective, a Venus retrograde look at the filmography of Tom Hanks, and I'll break down a number of his movies, when they happened and why they happened. You know, you're going to want to watch it. All right. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to say when it's possible. Thanks for being here. I'm okay. I'm alive. So are you, apparently. And I'll be back tomorrow on Friday. Love you all. Take good care, Chatlandia, and the rest of the world. Stay free.